Hey there. Ready for our deep dive today? We're going to tackle a big one: artificial intelligence, AI. It's exciting, it's always in the news, but honestly, it can feel kind of overwhelming, right? So that's what we're here for. We're using this IBM article, it's really straightforward, to help everyone get a clear picture of AI without all the technical jargon. So, first things first, what is artificial intelligence, really? It's got to be more than just robots and sci fi, right?
Oh, absolutely. The way this IBM article breaks it down, AI is less like a single thing and more like a bunch of ideas all nested inside each other.
Okay, I like where this is going.
Think of those Russian nesting dolls. The biggest one on the outside,
Mm-hmm.
that's AI. You open it up and boom, inside you find machine learning. And then the smallest doll, right in the center, that's deep learning.
So it's not enough to just say AI. It's like just saying vehicle. You don't know if we're talking bikes or spaceships, right? We got to be more specific.
Exactly. And just like there are tons of vehicle types, each one's good for something different. Same with machine learning. There are loads of types. Each one's like a tool in a toolbox. You pick the one that fits the problem you're trying to solve.
You know, this is already making AI feel less mysterious. Like, it's not magic. It's more like having the right tools and knowing which one to use.
Exactly. Now, where it gets really interesting is deep learning. This is where we actually start taking inspiration from the human brain, believe it or not.
That's what I thought was so cool in the article. But how does that actually work? Like, are we building computers that can think like us?
You could say that. Deep learning uses these things called neural networks. Think of them like all these interconnected pathways, kind of like how our brains have neurons.
Okay, so that's getting closer to that brain like AI. But the article mentions something about how deep learning learns differently too, right? Something about unsupervised learning.
You got it. See, traditionally, we'd have to label every single piece of data so the AI could understand it. Like, this is a cat, this is a dog, over and over again. But with deep learning, it's more like giving a kid this huge box of Legos, no instructions.
So they might not know what they're building at first.
Right. But they start putting pieces together, seeing patterns.
And they end up building something amazing all on their own. That's what deep learning does.
Exactly. We feed these models massive amounts of data, text, images, anything. And it starts finding those patterns, making connections, all without us needing to label everything. Because like learning by doing, just like that kid with the Legos.
Wow, that is seriously cool. And that's what explains all this generative AI we keep hearing about, right? Like, it's the rock star of the AI world now.
You got it. Generative AI, it takes that deep learning power, that ability to learn from huge amounts of data, and it uses it to create.
Create.
Yeah, we're talking text, images, music, you name it. AI can probably make it now.
So instead of just recognizing a picture of a cat, generative AI could actually paint like a whole new cat masterpiece on its own.
Exactly. And it's not just copying what it's already seen. It's generating something totally new based on all that data we talked about. Think of something like ChatGPT.
Oh, yeah, everyone's talking about that.
Right. It's not just giving you like pre-programmed responses. It's actually generating text that sounds like a human wrote it, like it's making it up on the spot.
Okay, that's where my mind starts to get a little blown. The article mentioned these things called transformers, which honestly sounds kind of intimidating.
They're actually really important to how this all works.
Hmm.
Transformers are a specific type of deep learning model that's really good at understanding and generating something called sequential data.
Sequential.
Yeah, like the words in a sentence. They come one after the other in a specific order. And because transformers are so good at handling those long sequences, they've been like the key to building these powerful language models, including ChatGPT.
It really is amazing how far this has all come.
Mm.
But the article also mentioned that training these AI models is a huge undertaking, right? Like millions of dollars, tons of computing power, that kind of thing.
Oh yeah, it's true. Training a model from scratch, it takes massive data sets and some serious computing power. Think thousands of specialized computer chips all running for weeks just to train one model.
Okay, see, that's where it starts to feel impossible for like anyone who doesn't have their own supercomputer. But then the article mentioned something about open source foundation models, and that sounds like there might be a shortcut.
There is.
Yeah.
Imagine you're baking a cake, right? You could start completely from scratch, every single ingredient, or you could grab a pre-baked cake and just do the frosting and decorations yourself. Open source models, things like Meta's Llama 2, they're kind of like that pre-baked cake.
Someone else already did all the hard work.
Yep. They already trained it on this huge data set, so you don't have to start from zero. You're taking this already smart model and then customizing it to do what you want.
So you're not starting completely from scratch. You're taking this already pretty intelligent model and you're making it your own. But how do you actually teach it to do something specific? Like, how does that pre-baked cake become like a birthday cake with all the right decorations?
That's where fine-tuning comes in.
Mhm.
And also something called reinforcement learning with human feedback.
Reinforcement learning. Try saying that 3 times fast.
I know, right? But it sounds way more complicated than it is. It's basically you're giving the AI feedback on how it's doing.
Okay.
So let's say you're teaching a chatbot to give really good customer service, right?
Okay, yeah.
You'd have real humans chat with it and then rate its responses. Was it accurate? Was it friendly and helpful? The AI then uses that feedback to get better over time.
So even the most advanced AI, it still needs some human guidance every now and then?
Absolutely. Think of it like, having a super smart intern. They've got tons of potential, but they still need some direction and feedback to really knock it out of the park.
It makes sense. This is all super interesting, but let's get down to brass tacks here. What does this actually mean for, like, me, for everyday life? Where is AI showing up in the real world? It can't just be all self-driving cars and, robots.
You're right. It's not all sci-fi stuff. AI is actually everywhere. It's just working behind the scenes in a lot of ways.
The article mentioned things like those customer service chatbots, fraud detection, even personalized recommendations on shopping websites, which is kind of wild when you think about it.
Totally. And it's only going to get more integrated into our lives.
Mhm.
Take something like online shopping. Have you noticed how online stores, they just seem to know exactly what you want to see these days? Like, they recommend things you actually might buy. That's AI behind the scenes. It's looking at what you've been checking out, what you've bought before, all that to make your shopping experience, I don't know, just smoother.
Totally. I feel like I never have to actually search for things anymore. Like the website just gets me. It's kind of creepy, but also kind of cool. So we've got AI personalizing our online experiences. But where else is it having a big impact? The article talked about healthcare, which seems huge.
Oh, it's massive. Think about developing new medications,
Okay, yeah.
traditionally. So time-consuming, crazy expensive. Researchers testing like countless compounds.
Trying to find that one that works.
Right. But AI is totally changing the game. It can analyze these huge EE data sets of molecular information and then help researchers pinpoint the compounds that have the best shot of actually becoming new drugs, new therapies, all that.
So instead of scientists having to test millions of things in the lab, AI helps them narrow it down to the ones that are most likely to pan out.
Exactly.
That's incredible. Feels like we're on the edge of like some major medical breakthroughs here.
We are. The potential of AI in healthcare is really exciting. But we do have to talk about the potential downsides too. Like with any really powerful tool, right?
Right, because this isn't just like some sci-fi fantasy. This is real technology, real implications for people's lives. And the article did mention some of the risks, right?
It did. One of the big ones, data security.
Makes sense.
AI, it relies on so much data.
Yeah.
So keeping that information safe, that is absolutely crucial. We also have to think about potential bias in AI.
Especially in something like healthcare, that could have serious consequences.
Yeah, for sure. If the data used to train an AI model is, I don't know, incomplete or biased in some way.
The AI is going to learn those biases too.
Yeah, and then its decisions, its recommendations could reflect that, even amplify those biases, unfortunately. It's something that, everyone involved in developing and using these technologies really needs to be on top of.
So it's not just about making AI smarter, it's about making sure it's used responsibly and ethically. It's like we need those guardrails in place.
100%. That's a big part of what the article stressed. Responsible AI development. It's not just about the technology. It's about how we use it. We need that transparency. We need accountability. We have to be thinking about ethics right from the start.
Wow, this deep dive has been honestly pretty mind-blowing. We started with like what AI even is, then how it learns, then all this incredible stuff it can do, but also those risks that we can't ignore.
And this is really just the beginning. AI is changing so fast. What we think is cutting edge today will be old news tomorrow. We've got to keep learning, keep asking questions, right?
That's what makes it so fascinating, though. It's like we're watching the future unfold in real time. So as we wrap up our deep dive for today, here's a thought for everyone listening. How do you see AI shaping your world in the years to come? It's not just some technology over there. It's something that's going to touch pretty much every part of our lives. How we work, how we connect, everything. So keep thinking about it, keep learning, and hey, if you ever get stuck, you know where to find us. Until next time.